Good afternoon. It is now time to begin. This is Evadyne with Company, Talk Worth Listening To, and I am Evadyne. I love Adele's music. Her music is therapy. Her music is preparation for life and life's events. Her lyrics are inspired, so they are also inspiring. Adele, is, I believe, truly a vessel of receiving information to be delivered to us. Today's subject, to me, is very important because I do my best to be a preventative person. Prevention is key, and it's not easy. It's work, but we work. Every day we get up. We work, we breathe, we think, we eat, we do. How much of that is deliberate? Well, eating, I'm sure, is very deliberate. But we are always, on some level or another, involved in a human activity. But it takes one thing to throw that activity off. One thing to change, to shift the life you know today. It could be good. It could be not so good. It could be very challenging. But it's just one thing that it can take to shift your life. So I am Evadyne again, and we are on Grown Folk Talking Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network. We are here in this network to share information. We laugh, we joke, we sing, we dance, we shake our pom-poms, we bring inspiration, we bring motivation, we bring comfort. And these, when I say we, are the different hosts on the different shows on this network. You can find many of the shows on the Grown Folk Talking Express Yourself YouTube. You'll know you're on the right page because you're going to see that mic that's on fire. It's a hot mic. Because behind us and in front of us is a hot mic. We take the opportunity to share and deliver and engage verbal conversation. Whether we're giving or receiving, listening, hearing, understanding, asking questions for better understanding, there is nothing wrong with that. On this network, we deliver. I'm not sure if there's anyone on yet who has a show on this network, but if you are, and if you do, I'm going to give you a minute or two to tell us about your show and what it is that you do outside of the show, if you do something else, because we know people how we know them. You know, when you go to homegoing services, I'm so nosy in a way, you'll hear people talking about the person who is the guest of honor, and you'll think to yourself, who the heck are they talking about? Because there are times when we know people and we could know them for years and not know so much more about them. And so when I invite anyone who's going to speak, you know, whether you have a show on the network or if you're going to comment on the show in the topic that we're discussing, if you're involved in other things outside of just listening in on Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself, share it with us. Let us know what you do and where we can find you. I'm just going to continue 1 minute, directing you to my website, networkingforsuccess.info. Currently, I'm so excited about this too. Currently, we have a 1 million book promotion, 1 million books into 1 million hands, hearts, minds, and homes. And those are the 2 books that are on the market right now. Suicide is a Serious Killer, Let's End It Today, and Mind is to Mental as Teeth Are to Dental, and We All Have a Mind. Those 2 books you will find on the website. You'll find the ebooks and the paperbacks. But what I'm most excited about is the new releases coming February 1st. It's about 10 books that are being released. I'm really excited about it. It pays to pay attention when the creator is sending you information in the way you're supposed to have it. So I'm looking forward to I have to think of a name for them, but there will be 10 books, possibly 11, released on February 1st. But go to the website, networkingforsuccess.info, and if you want to participate as an affiliate or as an organization in raising money utilizing the sale of the books, please let me know at 347-457-2769. So if there's anyone on who would like to announce their shows and tell us what you do, and the subject today. We can start the subject with you if you come on, and it's what do we do to prepare for the twists and turns of life? What are some of the things that literally it can take a second for your whole life to change just from one incident? What do you think about that? What are some of the ideas that you can think of that could happen, good or bad, and how we can address those things, how we can handle it, how can we best be prepared not to trip and fall. We might trip and we might slip, but we don't really want to fall, definitely not to the point of not being able to get up. I'll open the floor. Okay. So at any point in time, if you want to speak. Okay, so that is the topic for today. How do you prepare for the simple things that can absolutely change your life? Like what? Well, we're in the middle of January. We're in the middle of January. And the one thing that happens February 14th is that there are so many weddings on Valentine's Day. You'll have people who, congratulations if you were proposed to today. I know. How did I know? I don't know. But they get married on Valentine's Day. That is the day traditionally as Cupid, the lover's holiday. So here you are in a relationship, and all of a sudden, there's a proposal. What do you do? What do you do before you say yes or I do? How do you prepare for the success of that ongoing relationship? Or how do you keep a poker face, especially if it's done in public? How do you keep a poker face and respectfully decline if you're not ready to accept? Well, I know for a fact that one of the things you can do is you can, just, oh my God, just be so overwhelmed and hug the person and tell them in their ear, I'm going to say yes, but we're going to have to talk about this. Because sometimes it could be a shock. It could be a shock. So no one wants to be embarrassed, or you can just hug them and not whisper in their ear that you're going to say yes, but you'll talk about it later. But just tell them, do whatever you need to do. I'm going to hug you and do whatever you need to do. You say whatever you need to say. Mainly because sometimes when you say yes, it becomes a contract. It becomes a contract, and people can sue you. But you don't always know when the engagement the proposal is going to come. So it could be an absolute shock. Hi, Deborah. How are you?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you can hear me because I was speaking to you before and you couldn't hear me.
Oh, no, I couldn't hear you. So, welcome to the show, and I was just giving an example of the one something that could just change your life, and that could be a proposal. Mm-hmm. And if you're ready to say yes, then gosh, after the tears and the shock and awe, you say yes. But if you're not ready to say yes, I was just giving an example of how you can, keep it upbeat, especially if it's in public and around a lot of people. You just hug the person, just hug them and tell them, really, say what you want to say, but we're going to talk about this later. But at the same time, you're hugging them because, you're in a relationship, so you shouldn't be afraid to hug them. But you may not be ready for that commitment, and you don't want to embarrass them. So, yes.
I like that.
Thank you very much. So, yes, announce, I'm not sure, you were speaking, so continue, Deborah. Thank you.
Well, I'll announce my show. I did have a call for you last night. Evadyne, announce your show. Where are you? About Positive Impact, Sundays at 7 p.m., where we listen to gospel music. You make your selections, and we come on and we encourage each other. Also, we have Let's Talk About It with Deborah on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Both shows here on Grown Folk Talk. And on Saturday, we talk about a lot of different things. Never know what it is right now. Trying to find out exactly what it is I want to do in a particular segment, but I want it to be open to being able to do many different things. So we had 1 week that we had the Blind Divas on in Miss Newark, New Jersey, and talking about moving forward and becoming who you desire to be, even with disabilities, visually impaired pageant winners, from New York, New Jersey, and all over. And so we talk about a lot of different things. And I like what you're saying today. One thing can really change your life. And it is a good thing to think about how you can prepare in those situations. So the example that you just gave was one I had not thought of myself, but really a great example of being put on the spot and not wanting to embarrass someone else and learning how to handle it. And that's one thing we need to really practice, how to handle ourselves in tight situations. So I think that's very key. So we never know what can come up in life, but we do have to be prepared. And being prepared is so many different ways we can prepare for life situations. And so one of the things that helps me when situations occur in my life is really, I believe I'm a little more grounded in certain areas because of my faith. You know what I'm saying? And it always is important to exercise self-control. So that's one of the fruit of the Spirit, temperance. So trying to keep control. So like I told someone this weekend, sometimes maybe you're in a situation and your mind is racing, like 2,000 thoughts per second, you know what I'm saying? But you know those things can't slip out your lips, so you keep your mouth shut or maybe give a slight grin, you know what I'm saying? And just be graceful and wait and allow the thought process to kick in and, you know, absorb the moment and say, well, how can I best handle this situation right now, and figure out whether it's the time to say something or not. And I think that's one of the things, just trying not to be out of control. And, you know, even when I was going out to the club, I had a fear of, you know, drinking, because some people would get out of control. It was never my thing, you know what I'm saying? But I have had something to drink. But I was like, I saw so many people that didn't have any self-control. And I was like, I don't want to go somewhere and be acting crazy. So, you know, just trying to monitor and make sure that you have control over yourself in whatever situation is a major thing. That's one thing to me. Self-control is major. Your faith is major. Your education is major. And I tell all youth and everybody I talk to, but especially the youth, that you have to take care of yourself first and make sure you're good and in a good place. And before you start linking up with someone else, you need to make sure that you take good care of yourself, in the sense that you do everything that you want to do for yourself and have those things that you want to have for yourself. So by the time you become in a relationship with someone else, you have become very independent, and you're not needy, and you're not desperate, and you're not, you know, sometimes, you know, people think that you find a partner to get all the other things that you don't have, or things that you want, or that other person is responsible for this and that. So I tell youth, I say, get your own cars, get your homes, get your bank account, get your business, be an entrepreneur. Get started, get stable, love yourself, spoil yourself, vacation. Do what you want to do, have fun. Because, you know, when it comes that time, the question is popped and you accept it, you know, and you step into that marriage, things change. You know, you have to be in a place where you can now compromise. So sometimes it's hard for people going into those types of commitment, because they have not done the things they want to do, and they feel like they can continuously do those things in a type of selfish manner that is not inclusive of a compromise that will embrace a relationship and help it to grow. So those are some of the things that I you know, share with the youth and share with others. We really have to come to a place that we are able to compromise when we get into relationships, committed relationships and marriages. So those just a few of the things off the top of the head.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And outside of the podcast, what else do you do, Deborah?
Yeah, so many different things. Well, right now we're working with the organization of Unity and Empowerment. So we have that 501c3 started. We have Love Ministries started as well. We have the commercials for those. So our organization of Unity and Empowerment is going to be our veterans mentoring our youth, working with our community, finding out what's going on in the community, what's needed, and finding those solutions for it. Workshops to enhance our school, our children. Love Ministries is healing broken hearts, mending, helping people to mend, finding resources for both of these organizations that can help families and people, community to be stable. I'm also a part of NFB and POP, those organizations. So I'm moving forward to some new things. But my most exciting venture right now is going back to school for me. because I'm getting ready to do technology training, and I'll be doing that in Colorado if everything pans out like I planned, because technology is really important, and we're talking about preparing for the future. So you got to catch the wave and stay on top of things, you know what I mean? And so I'm behind in that area, but I'm doing a lot of community service, and I'll plan to work with Larry Hand for this election. So that's one of the other things I'm kind of excited about, just getting back to that, because I've done that before successfully, canvassing with Mamie Bridgeforth, her skeleton crew, and she won that election and became the first black woman to become West Ward Councilwoman in the city of Newark in the West Ward. And so that was a major achievement, and it was very life-changing, as you said, because you really get a chance to see what it takes to win, the dynamics and how detailed it is. So, and how the cities are broken down into different districts and sections, going out there, talking to people, knocking door to door, meeting people, learning, different personalities. And it was a adventure. Ministry is something I do. I'm a minister ×3 right now, but I'm stepping out into pastoralship soon, starting my own service. I really have a lot going on, so I don't know. It's a lot. And working with my music ministry. So that's just a little bit. I think it's a lot, but it's a little of what I do.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You say.
Well, we want to, also, how can people contact you regarding any of the things you mentioned if they are interested in getting involved?
Well, Organization of Unity and Empowerment, phone number is 862-902-6860. That's the office number. We definitely are looking for volunteers. We're formulating, putting things into action. So, Love Ministries. And as far as anything else, they can reach me at 862-282-5554. I like to help with people finding solutions. So I'm a researcher as well for problem solving of all sorts. So anybody interested in need any type of assistance, I help people with things of that nature. Rental assistance, life insurance, different things like that. Not so much life insurance, but health insurance. I do have a link with life insurance, but health insurance more so. Making sure people are covered, that they're safe, that they have a place to lay their head, and also finding needs, their personal needs, food, clothing, and things of that nature. So again, that number is 862-282-5554. So I help find resources of all sorts. Thank you, Evadyne.
You're welcome, and thank you. Yeah, that's a lot. Let me see. That's not a plate. That's a platter, by the way. So there's a
I keep trying to take some off, but it just keeps piling back up.
It just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. And that's when having a good staff or volunteer base is crucial for delegation, so that others can be involved and get involved and bring everything to fruition. I think it's Ayani on CCC, which is on our podcast network on Wednesday nights at 9:30. She asked the other day, as she's launching a new business, what are some of the hurdles that business owners who were on the line had to get over? How did they, well, first, what were some of the challenges, and then how did they handle the challenge? And one of the things that was mentioned was when you're in your business, finding people who are just as passionate about your business
Mhm.
as you are. And
Yes,
then you know
sir.
that whatever time they are giving, it's quality time. It's quality time.
Mhm.
And the passion doesn't mean necessarily they're so overwhelmed and they can't sleep without thinking about it. No. It means
Mhm.
that based on what it is that you're doing or that you want to accomplish in your business or your organization, they're feeling it. They can see the value, the human value
Mhm.
in what it is that you're doing, whether you're helping someone with it. Because her business, she's launching a business to help people write books, to help authors write books. And it was just so um, apropos, I should say. It was just really good. And then I remembered, what's his name? Bill, when he started
Mhm.
Micro, that he started it by paying minimum wage to the staff with profit share.
Mhm.
So 2 or 3 years down the road, he had 22, 23, 24, maybe younger year old millionaires because they saw the vision. They saw their the possibility and were willing to give their all based on their experience and what they could bring to that project. So I always remember that. And
Mhm.
I always remember FedEx was a college project. They had to write a business plan, and the professor told the gentleman who wrote it would never work. There were so many other things out there. There was, I believe, UPS and Emory and DHL and the post office, that the idea that he had wouldn't work. So not only
Mhm.
did he probably get a passing grade because it was well written, but he also launched the business. So we know that that was not the greatest assessment of that grant, that proposal,
Mhm.
but that professor, I'm hoping, gave his honest opinion. Because the other twist, back to twists and turns, the other twist to that is that in those settings, your assignments will be to do different things. And
Mhm.
those projects getting into the wrong hands, you will watch your idea blow up under someone else's name and not be able to
Mhm.
prove it's your idea because it became part of your school assignment. You turned it over, and it could be, if it's local, you'll see it, but it may be something that's not even developed locally since there's such an international community in everything that we do. So you have to be mindful. So let's say that was a twist that
Mhm.
had an idea, you shared the idea on paper, maybe with a professor, maybe with someone who um, said they would help. I always remember that invention commercial, let us help you get your invention started. And I remember this young lady told me that she created from her idea the self-adhesive envelopes
Mhm.
now get them at the post office. And there was
Mhm.
someone who was supposed to help her get the patent and the trademark and move it all through its cycles, and they stole it from her.
Mhm.
They stole it from her, and of course now you go to the post office, and that's the biggest customer of that product is the post office, and it was actually her idea. So what happens when you have a plan, you share your plan, and someone takes it? How do you handle that, or what advice can we give people so that really they can protect themselves? Which is number one, don't let it out of your hand until you, even what they call it, the poor man's trademark. You
Mhm.
send it to yourself in a self-addressed stamped envelope and never open it. Your idea as you're still processing the process of getting it to the next level, because that postmark is going to show it was your idea first. But what other
I think
suggestions?
now, I think now the way the internet is being used when we posting things online is the signatures, date, and proof down. You know what I'm saying? The way we're using it, because now it's locked in time. You cannot erase it.
That's
It has
true.
its old time signature. So that's one of the most updated ways. But of course, like you said, patents and trademarks and putting it in the old fashioned way, predating and sending it in an envelope and making sure you have everything, document your time and date is really important, you know. And you have to be careful. You really have to. And legal representation when you're going out and you're doing something. Is very important, you know. And I was looking at something. One of the lawyers for entertainment was representing a lot of youth, and they had lost a lot of money. A lot of people were really not paying them the way they were supposed to, and she really took it on as her life passion, you know, to get involved and correct these type of situations and make sure that they were getting paid accurately. So whatever we do, we have to remember from A to Z to, you know, dot our I's and cross our T's, because there's always going to be someone out there looking to, you know, advance without doing the work.
That's correct. That's correct. And the internet is a great idea, but I think about how they're hacking cars and airplanes and trains and buses. So not difficult for an expert or someone with the expertise to still, you know, I mean, there's always that chance. But you want to stay level headed. I feel you want to stay, well, protect yourself from the steps, but stay level headed, meaning don't, what was the word you said you have, Deborah? Don't lose your temper. Stay,
Oh, temperance,
stay in, go ahead.
self-control. It's
Self-control is a
temperate
word that started with it.
self-control.
But just, I do this expecting thing. I do this expecting thing, like with the young lady the other day, Adina. Um, she said that she takes action, not verbatim, but she takes action first and apologizes second. If she sees something will work, she go ahead and do it. She just go ahead and do it. And if something comes back from it, then she'll apologize and, you know, okay, we won't do that again. But initially, if your spirit and your mind says, you know what, this is a good idea, move forward with it. Because sometimes people procrastinate. I heard that yesterday. It was a wonderful interview. Her name is Pauline Van, Van, and she has, what is it called? The poetry,
Hmm.
the
Like the
poetry.
spoken word.
I have to. It's like poetry therapy. So I think it's like poetry therapy. I'll look for it. But Pauline Van, if you locate her, she's just an excellent speaker. She actually sounds like Jada. She speaks like Jada. And she was
Okay.
interviewing a former basketball player, Monteith, and that's what
Hmm.
they were talking about. They were talking about excelling and challenges and really just getting a lot of inspiration and motivation to staying steadfast in your glory, staying whole, staying complete, staying focused. And
Hmm.
they talked about challenges. They talked about challenges and the things that we do when we are faced with them. But let me take a pause. I'm going to open the floor back up. Um, if you're on and you like to share your life with us, no, you know. But if you like to share what you do, if you have a show on the network, you can tell us about your show and any other project that you are working with. Okay. See, if I take too many deep breaths, I'll fall asleep. I'm learning that. So, got in. Hello, Marcus. How are you?
I was on mute trying to unmute myself. Sometimes you're a little bit quicker than I am, but keep this up. It's all right. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for coming on. Looking forward to your expression.
Well, appreciate that. I take that as a compliment, always, from you. Um, and, my show, so that people know, is third Friday of every month on the Grown Folk Talking Network. It's Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Can we talk with Adrian? I co-host Neighborhood Initiative, or Neighborhood Improvement Initiative, which focuses on community and improving community, and also actually co-opting communities with Neighborhoods First. And that's every Friday. Every third Friday of the month, 6 p.m. Grown Folk Talking Network on Can We Talk with Adrian. Okay. Anything else you wanted me to share?
So you're on and you're speaking about paradigm shift, neighborhood development. Do you have?
Yes. I'm sorry. Say again.
No, I was going to ask. Do you have a future plan that will follow up from your show and the discussions?
Yes, I do. The podcast is similar to what we would call in the business world a board meeting, a planning meeting, where whoever's at the meeting are participants. There are some who talk and who discuss things, and then there are those who listen, and they're there to observe. They internalize the information, and those would most likely be the ones who would tell others who are interested what's going on, what we're doing. The objectivity here, though, is to help others to recognize that not only can you improve your neighborhood and have a sense of community, but to actually give the information as to how it's done, step by step, what the benefits are, and also how to mark out the boundaries of your neighborhood and have that made into a public record so that now it's actually official. So it's not just a group of people, and I've seen this happen before, where there's just a group of people who come and they may have concerns, some of them may be a little upset, some may be a little agitated, some may be indifferent. But that's just a group of people. But they have no representation. What I am suggesting to people is that develop a sense of representation. Put it together. Let's sit at the table. Let's discuss it. Let's get it out in the open. And let's hash it out. And right there is where we learn. Therefore, once we learn there, we can carry it further as a group, as an entity, or as several different starts to other entities in different neighborhoods and communities. So the objectivity, yes, is to convey that information as to how that's done, because the power behind what we call our local governments and our county governments and even our state governments is the people. It is the people. And it would be nice and it would be good if people understand what power they have and how to wield that power. Now, I'm not at all suggesting that you buck against the system. I'm not suggesting that. But what I am conveying is how to negotiate with those who consider the people to be their constituents. How to use that position and how to use it in a way that it creates leverage. So technically, you don't have to fight. You don't have to go head to head like two men. Everything works seamlessly, and it's more so in saying what you mean and how you say it rather than expressing an outburst because you're angry about this and about that. There's always a way to deal with things very effectively without having to be amped up most of the time to do it. And this is what the objectivity of what I'm bringing is to convey to others. We can move forward from our board meeting every third Friday once we're ready.
Thank you. Is that it?
Well, there's also some other things to improve our neighborhoods. That's a very important thing to actually, let's say, control where we live. Basically call the shots because you're now recognized publicly and on the record. Set the rules for your neighborhood. Basically like a constitution almost, in a sense, where you have your articles of association which define your neighborhood as an organization, as an association of people who live in the neighborhood. Also, how to take a neighborhood and install some improvements that everyone talks about, such as, let's say, repairs around roads, repairs around sidewalks, dealing with any kind of issues such as infestations, dealing with, let's say, local jobs, supporting local businesses, developing businesses, creating recreational centers that have learning labs for young minds as well as adult minds, where everybody can go, everybody can learn skills, and in fact we use that within the neighborhood. And that kind of sets everything up as an organization that has different departments within, showing people how to do gardening so that when you want to eat freshly grown produce that you made yourself, you have something there. Showing people how to, let's say, how to learn different disciplines. Even senses of community where if you wanted to start little league teams for, youth to have something to do, bring back some of the things that we used to do in our youth, like for the girls, the double dutch events where they go out with the jump ropes and twirl two at a time. Don't see that anymore. Recreational things to keep not only the minds engaged, but to keep the bodies active and to not just have this device that everybody just looks down at. It says, okay, I get enough activity by playing these games on this device. No, discipline in the mind. So it's a whole myriad of different things, past and present right now for the future. And so it spans a wide range, economics, knowledge bases, even learning certain things that we used to learn, like basic economics, how it works. Getting the young minds in the right mindset for economics, how to invest, how to be disciplined, how to budget, how to make business plans. I mean, it'll do my heart good to see everybody knowing how to write a business plan and then being able to carry it through and make connections within the community and then expand to other communities and say, hey, we want to do business with you over here. Let's barter. Let's trade. Let's make agreements. You have this, we have this. Let's give each other goods and services. We grow this over here. What do you have over there? Oh, you guys make outfits. You deal with yarn and fabrics. Oh, you knit and crochet over there. Well, great. What can we do? What can we offer you and you can offer us? I would love to see this and even so much more, because that would mean self-reliance and interdependence, so that the interactions between the people in this neighborhood over here and the people in that neighborhood over there aren't abrasive, but they're more engaging, more discovering. And we come together to assist, complement each other. Now, it sounds like a big project and a big undertaking, because it is, but it can be done. We already have examples of it. And we talked about that on Friday. Greenwich Village being one, Barrett City being another, Co-op City being another. They got the memo.
Follow through, right?
Exactly.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. And when you said it sounds like a big undertaking, I just think one family at a time, One family at a time can spread good as well as not so good. So if we keep it good, because each family member has a constituent in the neighborhood, a neighbor, a classmate. And so that's what I was just thinking, one family at a time. Not stopping there, but, letting it trickle out of apartment A to apartment B. And from apartment B to apartment C. And then you're building community again. Thank you.
Yes.
Very much. Is there anyone else on who has a show, would like to announce their show? And what we're speaking about today is how one little thing can change your life. And I thought about this, especially we have a lot of people who are not doing so well. They are mentally or physically not 100%, and therefore not able to make their own decisions. And I noticed this in my family, where as my mom aged and aged and aged and had some physical disorders, she was encouraged to move from the location she was living at and had been living at, which was her quote-unquote neighborhood, where she had her community. She had the people who knew her, that she lived alone. You know, they were there to check on her, go to the store for her, and she was mobile. She was mobile, but she was just getting older, and she was encouraged by some siblings to move from her neighborhood because it was quote-unquote bad. And she did, and it's so ironic because she probably rode the trains when she lived in New York maybe 5 times in her lifetime. She didn't like trains, and she did not like elevators. And the building she moved in, downtown Maryland, Baltimore, it was a 6 or 7 story building, and she was on the 4th floor. So not only did she leave her ground floor walk-in community apartment where she was safe and had a community that worked with her, but she also moved into an environment that was just the opposite of what was okay, safe, and sound for her. To have to take an elevator, that was totally against her being. So as we age, our young folks believe that they know what's best for us. They're thinking at times about themselves. I picked up a senior from an assisted living, senior living development. And when she got in the car, she was like, I am so miserable here. She said, I can drive, but my kids made me give up my car. They moved her out of her house and moved her into that facility. She says, I feel like I'm an advocate because I'm in here working, which keeps me busy, but I'm in here working for the residents because of what management isn't doing. She wanted to be in her home. Not only did they move her out, but they sold it. And they felt it was better for her. They felt it was safer for her. But you're taking people out of their comfort zone. And comfort zone is really important. I was speaking about the Netflix special, or docuseries, I guess, 13 Reasons Why. And it was about a young lady who gave 13 cassette tapes to 13 people, explaining to them how they influenced her decision to end her life. And one of the cassette tapes went to her parents because her parents moved her. They moved the family. And so we as parents, we make decisions that we are looking at and feeling are best for our family, whether it's economics, it's a new job, but we're not considering at times the community of everybody. There are young people who are closer to their teachers than they are to their parents. They love their parents, but that ability to communicate with them effectively sometimes, get a couple of Skittles in the way. So they have, and this is not just like high school or junior high school, even elementary school, even early childhood development. Children create bonds. They create these bonds with their teachers, with their classmates, with their friends parents. They create the same kind of bonds that we create and that we reflect back on. You could probably think of people who you grew up with, and their parents were like your aunties or your parents. They were like your parents. You were always in their house spending the night, and you just had a good relationship from a child growing up, and you can reflect on that. But those are the bonds that are continuing to be made. And when we uproot people, we may want to give them more consideration. Not to say you're not going to make that advancement that you've decided as adults is good for the family, but find that way to keep those young people in touch. As you mentioned, Deborah, the internet, keeping them in touch with the community that they've grown accustomed to, with the community and the relationships that they, quote unquote, may need. But we detach people easily. People go into the hospital and their family members take away their communication with the outside world. And I had to share with someone one day, you're the child, but your mother has so many friends. They were concerned about the mother being alone because they had moved out of state. Do you know your mother had a life before she had a child? Right? She had a life before she had a child, before she had a family. And through that process, through being a mother, through being a spouse, your mom has friends. It's not just about you. They were very, very concerned that their parent wanted to live back in the neighborhood that they had relationships with. Well, who's going to drive the car? Because they can't drive the car. They have friends who have licenses. Like, they haven't lost their senses. There's another thing, if you feel like their mental capacity has been diminished. Oh, and with that, we all should look into frequency healing. I always say we're electrical beings. And being electrical beings, we all have antennas that are always pulling energy. That energy, those frequencies, there's a lot of talk. Terrence Howard has some information on it. There's a lot of talk on healing frequencies. John Monroe brought on Dr. Brannigan, BranniganHealth.com, where he sends you a kit and you swab your mouth and you send the kit back. They evaluate it because, your saliva has, but FYI, your saliva has telling cells about what's going on in your body. And I say that to say, careful who you're sharing saliva with. Okay, moving on. So, he tests it, and from the test, he can determine your deficiencies and possibly your disorders. And if you take the treatment on, he sends you, who am I talking to? I know, I just remembered there's someone on here who uses it. But he sends you vials of water at certain frequencies based on what has been determined is a disorder in your body. And there's been success stories. If anyone would like to share, that's open too. But we are electrical beings, and it's important that we pay attention to how we get our messages and the messages that we're receiving. The messages that we're receiving. We're making decisions for people based on what we know, and sometimes our know, quote unquote, our knowledge is limited. Nothing wrong with us, we just haven't experienced everything. So when you receive information that you want to say, oh, that's not possible, before you say that, say, I'm not sure about that, and do some research. We have these devices. What did someone call it the other day? I call it the universe. I think they're calling it the multi-universe on Sirius XM, one of the hosts. But we have so much energy, so much information just floating through the air, and we just need to be in tune to receiving and processing and being patient. So let me see. I'm going to call that the RPP. Receive, process, patience. Okay, let me write that down. The RPP. I like that. Maybe I'll start talking frequency language. But if there's anyone else on who has a show and would like to share information on this show, and or if you have experienced a twist or turn in life that you didn't expect, and to some degree you can share how you handled it, how it affected you, and what you would recommend for others. Because I'll always look at homeless people on the street. I've been doing this since the 80s when I was driving buses, and I said, I know this wasn't like on my list of things to do. No one says, on my list of things to do, I'm going to become homeless by the age of... No one says that. And I've always wondered what twist or turn caused that. Because there are a lot of people on the street who are homeless. There are a lot of people who are addicted to substances, who are not only highly intelligent, but highly skilled, and at one time could have been very successful. And it takes one thing to change it. Literally, it could happen in a second. I think I told this story before about the homeless man in Brooklyn. He said he would never live in a house again because his wife and his children died in a house fire. And he said he would never live in a house again. He was literally living on the street. Who would think that would be an option? But that one thing and that decision he made, I would believe it caused a click in his mind. It caused a click. You know, like you click on the light. If you're not doing the clap on, clap off, no. But, just that switch to turn on the light can also turn on the dark. And in the dark, unless you know it well, it's hard to find the switch. Boy, I'm so glad this is recorded. I like the way I put that. But true. In the dark, it could be hard to find the switch. I know, I tickle me. See, FYI again, I don't need anybody to tickle me. I tickle myself. But I'm just saying, So, anyone would like to share a life experience? And it could be good. It could be, I opened up with the engagement, with the proposal, which would be a good thing if you were ready, willing, and able. But if you weren't ready for that proposal, then how do you handle it? And my suggestion was you just look overwhelmed, which you will be, and you hug the person. Just hug them and rock. Because you're in a relationship, so you can touch them. You hug them and you just whisper to them that basically they can say anything they want to say. You can't say yes right now, but you keep hugging and keep rocking, And then after the hug and the rock, that person will come up with the right thing to say to make it easy on everyone. But don't commit if you're not ready to commit, for sure. But go ahead. Would anyone like to make comment? All right. So, again, I love Adele, and I highly recommend that you listen to her music. And it's not just her. There might be there are several people who have really, really, really great lyrics. Again, being with large antennas. I say my antennas on my head brush the clouds, and then they kind of go through the clouds on occasion. That's the tuned. I know I have. I'm not perfect, just perfectly who I'm supposed to be. But what I like to do is play this other song from Adele. I really love it. And just, again, look into her music. If you don't want to listen to her, read her lyrics. Read her lyrics. But I love her singing voice, and I love her piano player. I could just, fall asleep to the piano player. I just love the way he handles the keys. Okay, second.
You've been on my mind. I grow fonder every day. Lose myself inside. Just thinking of your face. God only knows why it's taken me so long to let my doubts go. You're the only one that I want. I don't know why I'm scared. I've been here before. Every feeling, every word, I've imagined it all. You never know.
I love it, Dell. I really, really do. And it's so interesting with that song. Well, I'll ask you, how do you feel about, if you could hear it, and I hope you could, how do you feel about that song and the lyrics, if you could hear it? I'm going to pull it out of you. I'm going to pull it out of you. Come on. Anybody? I'm saying I'm going to pull it out of you, like I'm going to make you talk. I love those lyrics because as we get older, unless we're married to our first love, we experience relationships. And of course, when we talk relationships, it could be business, it could be intimate, different types of relationships, right? And some people, from an experience, they shut down. They don't want anymore. If it's business and the business failed, I'm done. Not realizing that the failure was the lesson, that the comeback could be the success, just like in a personal relationship. People talk about baggage. Well, open the bags, open the bags, because again, if you're here today, you lived through whatever that was. And if you're not here today, you're on the wrong show. you're on the wrong show. But I'm just saying, learn how to be flexible. Learn how to be flexible. Learn how to pay attention to the twists and turns. I am feeling really, really bad for people who have been institutionalized, medical, not mental, and their communication with what was their life has been taken away from them. It has been taken away because someone who feels they know what's best made that decision. So I'll just talk about healthcare proxies. It's important to have a healthcare proxy for that same reason. Someone who is going to represent not just your decisions if you're unable to make decisions, but who will be the only one who will give your rights and requests to that institution. Example, if you're in the hospital and your hands work, you should have your telephone. You should have your telephone. I remember going to see a friend who was in the hospital. They had her incubated, tube down her throat, and her hands tied. So I'm thinking, we've got a problem here. Because she can't talk and tell you what she needs, and she can't even push a button or write and tell you what she needs. And she was really ready to go home. She was pretty terminal with cancer, and she kind of wanted out. She literally had left the hospital to go and take care of her cat without their permission. So I guess they call themselves protecting her. She passed. But I think I'd rather pass actively than inactively, if possible. So be mindful, first creating a healthcare proxy. Have 2 or 3 who are respectful of you and your wishes. Bring them, as Marcus has this board going on at Third Friday, bring them to the table. And hopefully you all will be discussing, so let's go here. Your best friend, the person that's your best friend, you may not be their best friend, so don't be offended. But the 3 people or 2 people that you bring together, maybe you'll all do it together. Say, hey, like the Golden Girls, like, we're going to make sure we're taken care of. I don't know about those children, but we're going to make sure that we are given our lives the way that we want our lives to be. If we're ever hospitalized, nursing home, rehab, maybe have a stroke and you can't speak for yourself, you're telling them exactly what you want and how you want it. And along with that, just for a side, DNR means don't do anything. Don't do anything. You want to be mindful of DNR, do not resuscitate, and understand that you can be resuscitated, you can be put on a life-saving machine, and that machine will take the weight off of your brain and your heart and your lungs. It will take care of you while you get better in some cases. But to say you don't want to be hooked up to a machine, well, you can get your wish and never, ever, ever know that you got your wish. You can say you don't want to be hooked up to a machine for 13 years, but then why not? I mean, if it don't hurt, maybe they'll find a cure. But I'm just saying, be very mindful and very clear about what you do want and what you don't want, and who you leave in charge to make sure that those things happen. I do wish everyone well, of course, and we want the best outcome. So that was that. That's really a little hard for me. So any comments? Any questions? If you're listening live, do you know the name of this network that we're listening on? Anyone? See, now that was a question that most listeners would know. So we are on Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network. This is Evadyne. My show is Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. I hope it is. We have a variety.
Hey,
Hi.
Yeah, I was trying to get off of mute. You're just a little bit quicker than I am when you ask the question. But now I wanted to make a comment, but when you're done.
So no, you may go ahead. I'm never done. Go ahead. Really?
I like that. What I wanted to say is that my time on the network for the Third Friday, it is basically a boardroom meeting. Everybody is welcome who wants to be involved, whether just to listen and gain knowledge or to participate in planning. Saying about people in hospitals.
I can't hear you, Marcus. Can you speak up?
Sure. Hold on.
Thank you.
All right. How about now? Can you hear me? You got me?
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. So what you were saying regarding how people are treated in the hospitals, I can relate to that. Going into hospitals and seeing some of my relatives in hand restraints after they just got out of surgery, and I'm saying, this ain't supposed to be like this. They're not prisoners of it. Why would you have their hands restrained? Basically because the hospital took power of attorney because there was not one presented to them at the time when they were admitted for whatever procedure they were going to undergo. So the hospital just took it upon themselves to make themselves the proxy and then to do what they wanted to do. And that does not always work out for the best. And my whole opinion of that is that needs to go away. Because as you were saying, other people really don't know what it is that is best for another individual, because that individual has their own desires, their own thoughts about things that they enjoy, things they like, things they don't. And nobody is that individual. So I also, as I said earlier, this is a big undertaking. But all of the things that are issues in our neighborhoods and communities that we even discuss on this network, the Also Talking Express Yourself network, should be at the forefront of some type of organized effort. I just believe that it's left to us. We can't always go to someone else and say, hey, do this for me, because that's unrealistic. Sometimes we have to be the pioneers and the trendsetters and say, okay, enough of that. We don't need to wait. We'll handle this. And then a lot of things, I believe, will begin to change. So I appreciate you bringing up the issues that you bring up, because they are relevant. And I think that all of us need a better understanding and a slice of reality, because what if it was them? Would they want to be treated like that, disregarded? I don't think so. But that's my 2 cents, and I'm off my soapbox. So thank you, Evadyne. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So I am grateful that in speaking with healthcare staff, they are no happier than we are, Marcus. Many of them are well, we can see that now. That's why there's such a shortage of nurses and doctors in the in the medical care industry, because they are very disappointed in the protocols that they're forced to take on. Many of them are. And that's unfortunate, because my promotion for travel is, as long as there's earth, people will travel. As long as there's people, our health is a priority. And we don't want to go into institutions where we are questioning the care. I mean, there are people who are like, I don't care. I do not want to go to the hospital. I do not want an ambulance. That's their position, because not of their fear of getting care, but it's their fear of getting the wrong care and some of the things that they've seen happen. So let's just hope that we can empower people to check their frequency, use the frequency method, if it works for you and if it's affordable to you. I'm going to check with AmeriPlan, actually, which is it's a health benefit membership. And what they do is they discount your fee for service, which allows you to get tests that are not on the normal list. It allows you to get care. It allows you to get products. If you're going to use medication, it discounts whatever you have to pay for. So it puts you and the professional in the driver's seat. You know, both of you are sitting in the driver's seat. That was funny the other day. And, yeah, so that you can make the decisions along with the person who's standing in front of you, not someone who's on the other side of the possible world or definitely the country, making decisions on what type of care you can get, what type of test you can get. Because in the medical industry, normally you have to be symptomatic in order for them to start running tests, and then they start with the cheapest test first, where there's sometimes one test that can get to the root and the solution. They run you through a battery of tests because that's what the protocol states needs to be done. And then they talk about the strain on health care that people are causing by not getting regular care. But no, it is the strain of health care because of your protocols and how you say things need to be done. So you have 3 visits. You have the visit for the first test that's not going to really show you anything. Then you have to come back for the results. And if that didn't work, then they give you another test. And then you come back again for those results. You know, like, you become the comeback queen or king. And these are weeks and weeks and weeks in between each appointment. So the condition, if you listen to the health man, it might be getting better, but for the most part, the condition could be worsening. Your symptoms could be causing other things to happen because your body's one machine. Instead of them just doing, even if they could do 3 tests in one visit, okay, let's rule out, rule up, and rule down. But that's just not what they do. And AmeriPlan helps you with that. It's not for the broke. It's the Costco's and BJ's of the healthcare industry. The membership is reasonable, $59.95 a month, the entire household. That's great. And, I mean, in comparison to what, you know, premiums could be for insurance, because this is a membership, it's much cheaper, but it allows everyone in the household. Did I mention household? Household. That means related or not, married or not, your child or not, if they live under the roof and behind the door, everybody in the house can be on one membership. I think that's powerful in itself. And hopefully you're not using it every day, but if you use it, you have the funds, it's discounted, you get tests. They can't even tell you no to the tests you want to get because you're paying for it, but you're paying at a discount. And that can help you, you know, get yourself on track. Again, we're on Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network. We're on YouTube. You'll see it under Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself. And the hot mic will tell you you're in the right place. That is, if you call in, 520-525-8633. You can listen to the show lineup, but when you go on the YouTube, you can see many of the shows. That is where you can find them. And we have a website. I just don't have the website address yet. On the metaverse. On the metaverse. It might be Grown Folk Talk and ExpressYourself.com. I'm not sure. But we're growing, and that's good. The 520-525-8633 number, when you call that number, if your carrier charges you, you can text the words "call me" to that same number, and you'll get a call back. So as long as you can receive calls with no additional charge, then you get the call back and you can listen in. My website, networkingforsuccess.info. If you go to the promo page, you're going to see the promotion for the current books. I'm so excited. There's 10 more books coming out. I'm sorry. Yes, that was me. February 1st, I will be releasing 10, I think it's 11 books will be released February 1st. I'm really, really excited about that. I'm also excited because there are 4 screenwriters who are looking at the first 2 books to bring it to a live rendition. And it's going to be interesting because it's going to be very similar to Group Therapy, which is a show I produced on Broadway at Ellen's Stardust Diner back in 1994 or 5. But the book is designed in a way where each chapter is a chapter on its own, and the idea is that people within certain age groups, ethnicities, cultural backgrounds, religious backgrounds will have a discussion about the chapters separately and bring to the table solutions, ways that those chapters can be used in people's lives. And so it's like a lesson of a sort. So it'll probably be like a docu-series. I don't know if you saw Love Actually, but it's going to be, I call it segmentation. I'll look it up and see if it's a whole word, but I like the way I say it. So it's going to be like in segmentation and just combining everyone. So yes, it'll be separate groups, but then we'll combine the conversations of those individuals to make use of perspectives. I'm looking forward to that. What else? Oh, if you're on the website, go there now. Whenever you're listening, go there, networkingforsuccess.info. When you go to the travel sales page, well, there's a couple of treats, you see. You're going to get your own personal travel portal where you can book travel and shop and do all that wonderful stuff. You're also going to see the options to become a travel insider. And what that means is that if you work at McDonald's, you eat for almost free. If you work at Wendy's, you eat for almost free. If you work at any of the department stores, you get a very nice discount. If you work at a supermarket, you get very good discounts. So if you're in the travel industry, you get a lot of special offers, free to low, where properties around the world and even local offer you deals to come and experience their properties. I call it, they want you to come so they can treat you well so you can come back and sell. So as a travel advisor, a travel agent, if you're already booking people's travel, well, heck, come on into the business and get the perks of doing just that. You might be doing it for your organization as a secretary. You might be doing it for the company you work for as the specialist to bring people in to the company or to send people out. Well, if you have your own travel portal, you can start booking all of that travel through your portal, and of course, you know you're going to be making money. Of course you're going to be making money. Why the heck not? Because, everybody needs to eat. So when you go to the promo page again, so the books are there. The 2 current books are there. $5 for the 2 ebooks combined. They're Siamese twins. And then you have the retail, you have the wholesale, and you could actually book moi. Who's moi? That's me, right. So you can actually book me to come in and have the conversation. When you book me, it comes with 50 books and 3 hours of conversation. I don't know if I can handle 3 hours of conversation, but I'll do my absolute best. And someone asked me the other day, they shared with me that someone wanted to know what my background was to be writing a book on suicide. Well, 1, I watch the news. That's number 1. Number 2, people are doing it, and it's happening more and more and more. So number 3, I'm a solutionist. And I love the expression least or lowest common denominator in fractions, and that's how I take things. I take things to the lowest common denominator. And when I kept hearing of these suicides, especially Robin Williams, he was my motivation. Because the one thing I absolutely knew about him is that every movie he played in, a child could watch. With that type of consciousness, he would have never done that to his children in his right mind. And it doesn't mean that he was crazy, but we later learned that he was misdiagnosed with a brain disorder, which I'm sure came with a few RXs, and then he was diagnosed again, which I'm sure came with a few RXs, and then we have that result. And when we hear that people committed suicide, we go, oh my God, shh. Okay, be quiet if you want to. You're only going to be quiet till it happens again. We don't want to be quiet. We don't want to think it's a war between Satan and God, unless God checks into a laboratory or Satan checks into a laboratory to create these wonderful pharmaceutical designs. One of the public broadcasting stations, they did a documentary on why people commit suicide, and it was several different segments. Never once it was drugs, it was domestic issues, it was finances, all 7 different subjects. Never once did they mention that thing that they say to us can cause sadness, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Never once did they mention, because when they mentioned drugs, it was social drugs. And I thought, I wonder who paid for this one. It was, to me, quite obvious who paid for that production, because you never mentioned. And I do believe that that's what caused Robin Williams' act, that it was that influence of medication. So many people, and when you hear the reports, so many people, and then they'll say, oh, but they were, being treated for, and they always go to mental health issues. They were being, okay, well, if they were being treated for, that means they were complying, right? They were complying, and they were going to therapists, and they were going to this one and that one and getting this and getting, okay, so that doesn't answer the question as to why. I say it gives me more reason for more questions. Because if they're doing all the things to be good, why would they go so extreme to bad? That's just how my antennas work, right? But the books are very good, ages 7 and above, and they're not heavy. They're very light. Well, no, it's 319 pages in one of them, but they're not heavy. And every chapter, again, is a chapter on its own. I've never been at a public event with my book and someone take the book, open it up, read a page, and not tell me that's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you. It's not me, though. I am humbled to have been given the task to put that information between those covers. My co-author is the creator, my co-driver, my co-dancer, my co-cooker, my co-speaker, my co-everything. My co is my bro. No, not a man. The creator is my co-author. And I am, again, humbled that I was able to listen again and again and again and again and again, because it started out at 78 pages, the first book, when it was first released. And it was about getting the information out there to make a difference. So I know that unless it's blocked, it will go down as both of them will go down as 2 of the most influential books that helped stop circumstantial suicide and that help people to live better lives. Because it's health and wellness, it's all the way around. Health, wellness, nutrition, it's a little bit of everything in there. Everything, a little bit. Because you never know who you're speaking to, like today. So, I'll ask again, is there anyone on who would like to announce their show, if they have a show, or their business? Promote your business. I'm going to take a pause because they tell me I start speaking too fast for people to come off of mute. So now the floor is open if you would like to announce yourself, your show, your business, whatever it is you want the people to know. Okay, I tell you, I can't take too many without falling asleep. No, I don't have narcolepsy. I'm just saying. But we're almost finished. So now, this is how it works. On Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself on Mondays, my show is 4 to 6 p.m. Following my show, every Monday, except for the last Monday, is Flat Time with Star. The last Monday of the month, it is the King's Roundtable with Leon. Every morning at 7 a.m., there's a prayer line. If you need one, want to give one. Oh, I can't say if you want to give one. It's not my show. I don't know how it goes. But it is a prayer line at 7 a.m. If you stay on and come back, 6 p.m., Grace Space with Jada, Deborah, and Karen. 7:30 p.m., this is on Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m., is the Pink Sofa Talk. And again, every morning at 7 a.m., the prayer line. And every day you can call in. You can call in. It's almost free. It takes time. And you don't have to sit. You can call in and drive while you listen. You can go to the YouTube, again, Grown Folks Talk and Express Yourself. You can listen while you do all the other things you do. You can listen while you work out. It's like the radio, It's there for you over and over and over again. My website, networkingforsuccess.info. There's a lot of stuff coming, though. I'm really excited. I am going to say, if you're interested in starting your own podcast, give me a call. I have a 24-hour hotline, 347-649-7741. 347-649-7741. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. This is Evadyne with Evadyne with Company. I'll open the floor one more time. Anyone interested in saying anything before we go? Well, then. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate that. Thank you for all of your input. Thank everyone for their listening ear. When you're on YouTube, please comment. My YouTube, Evadyne, youtube.com/@ EVADYNE Smith, SMITH, 3986. Comment, share, like, any YouTube you go on. Comment, share, like, ring the bell. None of it hurts. Don't cost you a thing. I'm just saying. Let folks know how you feel, if you feel, and that you feel. I like that. Oh, it's tax time again, and that's my business as well. So, interestingly, I've been working on that while we've been talking. And hopefully you didn't notice. And it's tax season. You can go on my YouTube and watch. Actually, if you go to my website and go to Financial Strategies and scroll down, I have a video on helping you prepare for tax season 2023. That's the year we're preparing for now. And I share that whether you come to me or not, because I see what a lot of people do. I see what they don't understand. And it's just a way to help them prepare to understand the tax preparation process, because the better you understand it, the better the outcome. And please, this is the one thing that disturbs me during this time was the custodial and non-custodial parenting. If there's a non-custodial parent and that parent is doing well by that child, you're working together and you're co-parenting, one of you can claim the child and the other one can claim the head of household status. So if the child is living with you, you can claim single and claim the child and get the full benefits of the child. And the non-custodial parent can claim head of household and use that child as a qualifying dependent. That is so fair. I'm such a fair girl. But that is so fair. I am disturbed when the custodial parent takes all the credit and all the value of the child when the non-custodial parent, it could be father or mother because it could be either way, but when the non-custodial parent is co-parenting very well, this is that time. The other thing that I do is if your young person, thank goodness, has grown up and followed the lead and working, it may happen that you can't claim them if they're making an excessive amount of income where they can claim themselves. But, if you do claim them, that means they cannot claim themselves. They file a return, but they cannot claim themselves because there's an indicator, can someone else claim you as a dependent? So what that would do is it would cause that young person to receive less of a refund or sometimes owe. So what do? I tell the parent, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to prepare the return for the young person as if they were claiming themselves so we can see the result. And then when I indicate that someone else can claim them and it changes the result, when we prepare your return, because there's usually a significant difference between that person being able to claim that young person and not. But what I do, of course with permission and influence, I make sure that that child is getting exactly what they would get if they were claiming themselves, because we want them to be encouraged. We want them. And they've watched us get excited between January and April 15th all their lives, right? So we want them to be rewarded in that same way. So I take that same portion out of the tax return from the parent and I have it deposited directly into that young person's account. And if that young person owes, then I process what they owe to come out of the parent's account. Fair is fair. Never had a problem once I explained it and they understood it. I've never had a problem with everybody agreeing to that methodology. A methodology I created. No, but it's fair, you know. But that following year after that, if that child is still working, then the parent may not be able to claim them. So it's very important that we make sure that everybody's filing correctly, correct filing status, and if you're married and you're claiming married filing separate as a filing status, you will lose some credits. If you have education credits you're entitled to, you definitely won't get earned income credit because that married filing separate status rejects many credits from being given. Okay? So I just wanted to share that information with you. I appreciate everyone coming on. Are there any questions or comments? Oh, and you know I'm an insurance agent, right? So if you need insurance, give me a call. Insurance is not about death. It's about building wealth. 347-457-2769. Direct line. That's not the hotline, but that's a direct line. I thank you all for listening in. I appreciate you. Any further comments or questions? I wish you all a great, Okay. I wish you all a great day. Come back on at 7 for star slot time and 7 a.m. in the morning. Thank you.